Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Corporate Law Updates by Corporate Law Journal. In today's episode, we'll be discussing some notifications and circulars released by RBI, SEBI, IBBI, and MCA. Now, let's kickstart this episode by discussing our first notification by RBI. Last week, with an intent to revive real estate sector and to mitigate the impact on ultimate borrowers, RBI decided to provide a special window, that is the resolution framework for COVID-19 related stress, under the prudential framework to enable the lenders to implement a resolution plan in respect of eligible corporate exposures without change in the ownership and personal loan. Now, such resolution window is only available to COVID-19 related stressed assets. In furtherance to the above mentioned window, RBI has also formed an expert committee to make recommendations on the required financial parameters to be factored in the resolution plan with specific benchmark for such parameters. The committee shall also undertake the process of validation for resolution plans under this framework in respect of accounts having exposure of 1500 crore or more. Now, this committee, which is being formed under the chairmanship of Shri K.V. Kamath, will also have Indian Banks Association working as its secretariat, will submit its recommendation to the Reserve Bank of India. In turn, RBI shall notify the same along with any notifications within 30 days. Now, let's discuss some circulars released by SEBI last week. On 10th of August, SEBI released a circular to deal with the resources of trustees of mutual funds. This circular was issued in accordance to Section 11(1) of the SEBI Act and Section 77 of the SEBI Mutual Fund Regulations. This will be applicable on all mutual funds, all asset management companies, trust companies, board of trustees of mutual funds, and association of mutual funds in India. Now, as per this circular, the trustees now have to appoint a dedicated officer with the requisite professional qualifications and minimum of 5 years experience in finance and financial services. Now, this officer shall be the employee of trustees and will directly report to them. The scope of work of such an officer will be specified by the trustees and they shall discharge the activities so assigned to them. Now, the trustees shall further have standing arrangements with independent firms for special purpose of audit or to seek any legal advice. In another notification released on 11th of August, SEBI notified that a panel appointed by the government has suggested that unlisted companies in India should be brought under the regime where they would report to the stakeholders on how the unlisted companies' environmental, social, and good governance objectives were met. The panel has further contended that this should be mandated for all unlisted companies above a specified threshold turnover and paid up capital. In another notification released on the same date, SEBI has notified that it aims to strengthen its surveillance capabilities using new technologies. SEBI has made efforts in the direction to gather and analyze structured and unstructured market data and implement the Data Lake project. This project will help to increase analytical capabilities and advance artificial intelligence tools, pattern recognition, and text mining. On 12th of August, SEBI released a public notice regarding processing of complaints only through SCORE's platform. Earlier, a large number of complaints were received by SEBI on its generic email ID or by SEBI officers on their official email IDs. Now, these complaints were earlier uploaded on the SCORE's platform. However, now it has been notified that any complaint against the listed entity, intermediaries, or any recognized market infrastructure institution is to be lodged directly on the SCORE's platform, and any complaints sent on the generic email ID of SEBI or the official ID of SEBI officers will not be entertained. On 13th of August, SEBI released a circular exercising its power under Section 11, Subclause 1 of SEBI Act 1992. Now, this circular lays down the procedure for handling investor grievances through SEBI Complaint Redressal System platform, that is the SCORE's platform, by the stock exchanges, as well as the standard operating procedure for actions to be taken against listed companies for the failure to redress the investor grievances. Now, this circular will come into action from 1st September 2020. This will be applicable all on SEBI recognized stock exchanges, on all depositories, and all investor association. Now, the procedure laid down in the circular provides that the listed company shall be responsible for the purpose of redressal of investor complaints, and if it fails to do so, the stock exchange can levy heavy fines on the listed companies. If the listed company fails to pay the fine within the given time, the stock exchange shall intimate the depositories to freeze the entire shareholding of the promoters and the promoter group. The stock exchange is also tasked with the duty to intimate SEBI through the SCORES platform of the actions initiated or taken against the listed company for the non redressal of investor complaints and for the non payment of the fines. In another notification released on August 14, SEBI notified that Shri J.P. Garg has taken charge as its executive director on 13th August 2020. Now, prior to his promotion, he was the chief general manager in SEBI. He has been closely associated with SEBI's initiative on financial literacy and investor education in the country and has played a key role in the establishment of National Institute of Securities Market. Now, moving on to some updates by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. MCA has notified that it will work in coordination with SEBI for implementation of business responsibility and sustainability report framework in the country. MCA has further highlighted that Indian companies are aspiring to have a global standing, and therefore it is important that they do not miss out on the emerging trend of corporate governance, that is responsible business. Now, on 12th of August, MCA has also placed on its website the report of the Committee on Business Responsibility Reporting. This committee has been constituted for the purpose of preparing business responsibility reporting formats for the listed and unlisted companies. Now, coming to a very important update by MCA. The Institute of Company Secretaries of India has submitted its representation to Ministry of Corporate Affairs, which includes the following three things. Firstly, it has requested for an extension for holding an annual general meeting. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs has granted this extension of time for holding an AGM till 30th September 2020 instead of 30th June 2020 to those companies whose financial year has ended on 31st December 2019. Now, although the Companies Act does have a provision for extension of holding the AGM by the concerned registrar of the companies on an application filed by the company, but it would not be feasible for all companies to apply for such an extension due to lack of resources or non-awareness of such provisions. That is why ICSI has requested MCA to extend the time of holding an annual general meeting up to 31st December 2020 for those companies whose financial year has ended on 31st March 2020. Now, coming to the second point of the representation, the due dates of the audit and income tax filing have also been extended till November 2020, due to which there may be a delay in receiving data and finalizing the financials of the company. Now, coming to the last point under the representation, ICSI has also requested for an extension of validity on following three schemes. The LLP Settlement Scheme 2020, which was earlier valid up to June 30th, 2020, Companies Fresh Start Scheme 2020, which is earlier valid up to September 30th, 2020, and the scheme for relaxation of time for filing forms related to creation or modification of charges, which was also valid up to September 30th, 2020. However, due to the imposition of lockdown, the stakeholders have not been able to take the benefit of these schemes, and therefore ICSI has requested MCA to extend the validity of said schemes up to 31st December 2020. Now, moving on to IBBI. IBBI released a 22-page document listing out potential red flags to detect an avoidance transaction. This document lists out various factors such as the predominance of cash transaction, the independence of directors, the frequent change of auditors, or the need to look whether the corporate debtor is present at the address that is given in the Corporate Affairs Ministry. Now, such things are listed out to be potential red flags to detect any avoidance transactions. That is it for today's episode, guys. If this session was helpful to you, then please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope to see you soon in next episode with more latest updates from the corporate world.